Officials with the Trump administration are acknowledging the email systems of the Pentagon, State Department, and the Department of Homeland Security were all compromised in a major cyber attack that also targeted the Treasury and Commerce departments, as well as nuclear laboratories and some Fortune 500 companies. The National Security Council held an emergency meeting Monday to discuss what's been described as the biggest breach of U.S. government data in years. The hackers allegedly inserted malicious software into an update for network management software made by the private company SolarWinds, which has 300,000 customers worldwide.
Tom Bossert, the former Homeland Security Adviser appointed by Donald Trump after he won the 2016 election during his transition period, wrote a shocking article in the New York Times a couple of days ago to expose a massive cybersecurity hack by what is believed to be of Russian origin by gaining access to software developed by a company called SolarWinds and injecting malicious malware code into a software update that went completely unnoticed and gave the hackers a hidden back door to compromise the systems of unsuspecting clients after they downloaded the updates. Take a look at this video and I will be right back.
Turning now to our world lead, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, known as CISA, is warning that the recent hacks allegedly carried out by a Russian-linked group pose a grave risk to federal, local, and state governments. The hackers reportedly used previously unknown tactics to gain access to multiple U.S. agencies since as far back as March. Now, CNN has reported that systems belonging to the Departments of Homeland Security, Agriculture, and Commerce were compromised. The U.S. Postal Service and Departments of Treasury and Defense may also have been hacked, making this one of, if not the biggest, cyber attack on the United States in years. An attack outgoing President Trump has publicly ignored, not tweeting about it, not commenting about it, nothing.
The largest hack in years, and Trump is silent. Maybe it has something to do with this tweet from Trump in 2017. Let me read this tweet to you because Trump has no shame. But the tweet is from July 9th of 2017. It says, quote, "Putin and I discussed forming an impenetrable cybersecurity unit so that election hacking and many other negative things will be guarded." And that's really all the tweet says. So it's mighty interesting how ineffective that initiative has been. So take a look at this second clip.
CNN's Alex Marquardt joins me now for more on this. And Alex, we still don't know exactly how or what these hackers were able to get access to, according to this update from CISA, right?
Yeah, this new alert from CISA is not comforting, Jake. In fact, if anything, it's more alarming, and it really speaks to the sophistication of this attack. What they say broadly in this statement is that government agencies, critical infrastructure, and private sector organizations were compromised. This company, this private company, SolarWinds, that the hackers used to get into these networks, there were 18,000 customers. So there's a potential for many of them to be compromised. You read that list of the agencies that we know about right now: Agriculture, Commerce, the Department of Homeland Security, including CISA. Those were all compromised. The Treasury Department, according to the Washington Post. One of the things that the CISA alert also said was that there are ways that these hackers got in that they are still investigating, that they have not yet revealed. There are tactics that have not yet been discovered. And so there's a lot that remains to be seen. But CISA did confirm that these Russian hackers have been in these U.S. governments since March and remain there. This is an ongoing, widespread espionage operation.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. And I don't mean that in a good way. Not only is this an ongoing situation, so this is not something that happened in the past and we have a firm grip on what happened and we're just now we've gotten them kicked out and everything like that. No, this is ongoing. That is a critical component to the story. They're still in there right now, and they have no idea how they even necessarily did it or what's been exposed. This is not something to take lightly. So let me actually read parts of that article from the New York Times. The article is titled, "I was the Homeland Security Advisor to Trump. We're being hacked." You might have seen it trending a couple of days ago. The magnitude of this national security breach is hard to overstate. by Thomas P. Bossert. So a few paragraphs down, it says, quote, "This is what is called a supply chain attack, meaning the pathway into the target networks relies on access to a supplier. Supply chain attacks require significant resources and sometimes years to execute. They are almost always the product of a nation state, probably because of the number of resources needed to pull off something like this. Evidence in the SolarWinds attack points to the Russian intelligence agency known as the SVR, whose tradecraft is among the most advanced in the world. According to SolarWinds SEC filings, the malware was on the software from March to June. The number of organizations that downloaded the corrupt update could be as many as 18,000, as you heard in the video a second ago, which includes most federal government, which includes most federal government unclassified networks, okay, and more than 425 Fortune 500 companies. The magnitude of this ongoing attack is hard to overstate. The Russians have had access to a considerable number of important and sensitive networks for 6 to 9 months. So, pretty bad. Pretty bad, I'd say. Take a look at this last clip, and then I will be back to share my final thoughts.
This was not your ordinary breach. The Russians managed to slip in through trusted software, through this software that was put out by this company called SolarWinds. It is widely used across the private and public sector, and that is how Russia managed to get in there without raising the alarms. And they were very careful to cover their tracks. So they are in these systems now, and Joe Biden, when he comes into office, is going to take over agencies and departments with the Russians currently in their networks.
So you say that about the Russians, and I know that U.S. government officials, they're the ones who are fingering and saying the Russians were behind this. What's the evidence that the Russians did this?
Well, we've heard nothing from the president. We have seen the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, acknowledge that this is an ongoing effort by the Russians. He said that to Breitbart News. This has all the hallmarks of a Russian operation. This is an attack on what they call the supply chain. Russia has done this in the past. We also know that Russia carried out an attack on the cybersecurity firm FireEye, and I was told that all of this is linked.
So for those who think this is the Democratic Party pushing more, Russia conspiracies and things like that, no. It's Republicans saying this, not Democrats. So this is not originating from the DNC or from the Democratic Party, but I want to read the last few points from the New York Times article. So further down in the article, it says, in the networks that the Russians control, they have the power to destroy or alter data and impersonate legitimate people. Okay, that is massive. They can manipulate data and pretend to be people that they're not. So that means that they can gain access to stuff that they shouldn't have access to and stuff that's not public. It's not public information. Domestic and geopolitical tensions could escalate quite easily if they use their access for malign influence and misinformation, both hallmarks of Russian behavior. And then further down, it says, President Trump is on the verge of leaving behind a federal government and perhaps a large number of major industries compromised by the Russian government. He must use whatever leverage he can muster to protect the United States and severely punish the Russians. And then the last paragraph says, we are sick, distracted, and now under cyber attack. Leadership is essential. So what do I make of this? I think America under Trump is more vulnerable and exposed to these types of attacks than ever before. I think Trump has done more damage, way more damage to the internal structure of America than we even know, because I think the full scope of his destruction is being kept from the general public. It's important to note that CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency that was one of the targets of this hack, doesn't currently have a director because Trump fired him a month ago, or a little over a month ago, because he wouldn't go along with the fraudulent claims about voter fraud. That was Chris Krebs. I did a video about him a couple of days ago. This story is important because we cannot have vital systems be so exposed that there's no way of knowing how deep the intrusion actually is. I mean, think about the number of high-ranking officials with clearances they could impersonate. On the outside looking in, we in the public don't even know the types of national security systems that might be exposed right now. That's not something we should overlook. I mean, I've read elsewhere that SolarWinds clients include FedEx and the United States Postal Service. Hospitals might be impacted by this breach. I mean, do people realize how interconnected we all are on the internet? I mean, I know you guys know this. One massive breach like this could cripple everything from transportation, energy systems, and power grids. I mean, hell, what don't they have access to when you're talking about 18,000 clients, including major government agencies? What don't they have access to is really the better question at this point. This is why I believe there should be no talk whatsoever about giving Trump a pass in the name of bipartisanship. That's practically condoning this chaos. But my name is Brian Lewis. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below.